Drums echo across the shoreline as dark-skinned sailors pull boats onto unfamiliar sand. They move quickly, scanning trees, reading tides, guarding supplies with practiced, disciplined local. Villagers watch from cover, gripping tools, unsure weeder, to approach or retreat. A leader steps forward, raising open hands, signaling trade instead of conquest. Shells change hands for metal blades, salt, cloth, and unfamiliar foods. Years later, Spanish ships anchor violently, cannons visible, flags raised aggressively. Sailors march inland, dragging chains, seizing land, claiming discovery through force. They encounter dark-skinned people, already farming, trading, and navigating rivers confidently. Whispers spread among soldiers, confused by faces resembling Africans they already enslaved. Commanders order silence, recording nothing that complicates official narratives. Centuries pass. Churches filled, schools open, books are printed. A black scholar studies old maps under candlelight, tracing coastlines deliberately. He notices rivers named before European arrival, written in unfamiliar languages. He compares journals, ship logs, and church records with growing concern. Each source hints quietly at contact before Columbus ever sailed. He presents findings at a university, hall guarded by stone pillars. White academics listen politely, arms crossed, eyes narrowing gradually. Questions shift from curiosity to accusation within minutes. He is asked about credentials instead of evidence. Outside, black students gather, sensing tension through closed wooden doors. Tayer Riset. Voices, laughter, masking dismissal, papers shuffled aggressively. The scholar exits alone, carrying notes tightly, expression controlled but alert. Across the country, black historians meet quietly in rented rooms. Maps, cover tables, photographs circulate, arguments sharpen. They debate strategy carefully, knowing visibility invites retaliation. One suggests public lectures. Another warns that funding will disappear immediately. They choose documentation. First, copying records before access disappears. Archives close suddenly for renovations. After their visits become known, security guards follow them between shelves, watching hands, timing movements. A black librarian quietly slips copies into bags, risking her position silently. She warns them softly that administrators requested lists of names that they leave separately, changing routes, memorizing faces behind them. Newspapers published brief articles mocking the theory as fringe speculation. Headlines framed curiosity as conspiracy, scholarship as grievance. Editors quote authorities dismissing claims without reviewing sources. Communities respond by organizing lectures in churches and basements. Crowds pack pews, listening intently, watching doors nervously. Speakers showed artifacts, maps, and linguistic parallels, avoiding dramatic claims. Questions come fast. Skepticism remains. A man stands, asking why these records were never taught publicly. Silence follows. No one answers quickly. Police cars idle outside during later meetings. Engines running. Attendance drops slightly, then stabilizes through word-of-mouth trust. Organizers rotate speakers, locations, and times, avoiding predictable patterns. A university revokes a scholar's access, citing misuse of materials. His office is reassigned without notice. His grant disappears quietly. Students protest outside administrative buildings, holding signs without slogans. Security forces block entrances, hands resting on batons deliberately. Administrators refuse meetings, citing scheduling conflicts repeatedly. A black professor continues teaching anyway, presenting primary documents carefully. A supervisor sits in the back, recording lectures, noting language choices. Complaints follow. Warnings escalate. Meanwhile, museums receive letters demanding artifact reviews. Curators lock storage rooms, citing preservation concerns. Suddenly, items disappear from displays overnight, replaced with generic descriptions. Community leaders meet again, reassessing risk versus exposure. They recognize suppression patterns, repeating across institutions consistently. This is not a debate. This is containment. They decide to publish independently, bypassing academic approval. Printers hesitate, then refuse, citing contractual obligations. One small press agrees. Working nights. Doors locked. Boxes of books move quickly into vans. Before dawn, distribution begins through churches, barbershops, and student groups. Demand spreads faster than expected. Opposition responds. Immediately, Radio hosts ridicule authors by name. Funding audits begin jobs. A thread in a black historian is questioned by federal agents about foreign influence. He answers calmly, requesting legal representation immediately. The interview ends. Abrupt word spreads. Fear tightens. Commitment hardens. They know now this history challenges authority beyond classrooms. It questions who decides presence, ownership, and belonging itself. Meetings shrink. Trust narrows. Notes are memorized, then burned. A march is proposed, then postponed repeatedly due to risk. Instead, they choose visibility through scholarship, not crowds still. Surveillance increases. Phones click. Mail arrives opened. A young researcher hesitates, then continues anyway. She enters restricted archives using borrowed credentials. Ship manifests referencing black pilots guiding explorers inland. Guards approach. She leaves calmly. No confrontation yet. That night, leaders gather again, reviewing new evidence quietly. They understand what this implies for accepted national origins. They also understand what challenging origins invite historically. Outside, unmarked cars idle without headlights. Inside, decisions are made carefully, aware Keith-Addon sequences are approaching. No one celebrates. No one retreats. They continue preparing. The story is moving beyond records now. Power is paying attention. Sirens echo faintly as unmarked cars trail scholars leaving late-night meetings. A door closes softly behind them, locking more than just the room inside. Tay, understunned. Suppression has shifted from dismissal to active containment now. University boards convene emergency sessions without black faculty representation present. Budgets are revised. Programs disappear. Explanations remain vague. A black professor arrives to find his classroom reassigned permanently. Students wait in hallways, confused, watching administrators avoid eye contact. Security escorts him out politely. Hands close, voices controlled. In another city, a community archive is raided under zoning enforcement orders. Boxers are opened. Photographs cataloged, documents seized without receipts. Volunteers protest quietly outside. Filming officers removing labeled crates. Police order dispersal, citing safety concerns without specific threats. Cameras stay raised until wrists are forced down. That evening, organizers regroup inside a church basement. Maps lie flattened beside confiscation notices. Plans adjust quickly. They decide decentralization is survival. Now, no single archive, no single leader, no single narrative carrier. Researchers split tasks across states, carrying fragments only. Knowledge moves person to person, never centralized again. Risk is distributed evenly. A radio station invites a historian for a balanced discussion. He arrives at hostile framing, questions designed to discredit credibility. Producers cut his mic when his answers become too precise. Outside, supporters gather quietly, counting police units nearby. No chance, no signs, just presence. The broadcast ends abruptly without closing statements. Calls flood station lines. Immediately, management issues an apology without specifics. Soon after, advertisers withdraw. The station changes programming quietly. Meanwhile, elementary textbooks receive revisions removing ambiguous language. Timelines harden. Maps simplify. Complexity disappears. A black parent confronts the school board publicly during open comments. Her questions reference documented records and museum removals. Board members shift seats, citing curriculum standards repeatedly. After the meeting, her employer receives anonymous complaints. Her hours are reduced quietly. Pressure builds, unevenly but consistently across cities. Each challenge triggers a response within days. Black graduate student attempts dissertation approval. Air committee delays reviews indefinitely. Deadlines pass. She publishes independently online under a collective name. Traffic surges. Then platforms flag content for historical misinformation. Appeals failed without explanation. In response, encrypted networks form for sharing research securely. Access requires trust built through shared risk. Names are withheld deliberately. Authorities adapt quickly. New task forces form to address educational extremism. Language remains neutral. Actions do not. A historian is detained briefly during airport screening. Luggage is searched thoroughly. Notes are photographed. He's released without charges. The message lands clearly. Despite pressure, discoveries continue. Quietly, linguistic parallels emerge between African dialects and indigenous place names. Artifacts resurface in private collections with undocumented origins. A collector refuses interviews, but allows private viewing. Scholars photograph items quickly, aware that time is limited soon after. The collection is sold overseas. Community leaders debate next steps intensely. Visibility, risks, destruction, silence, risks, erasure. They choose persistence without announcement. Work continues, underground, methodical, patient. Police raid a bookstore selling independent historical texts. Licenses are questioned. Inspections escalate. Owners comply publicly while moving inventory overnight. Pop-up readings replace storefronts. A march finally forms without promotion or permits. Participants arrive separately. Assembling silently downtown, police respond late, confused by coordination. Marchers walk calmly, holding books instead of banners. Officers block streets abruptly, orders change. Mid-route, no arrests occur. No speeches follow. The image circulates. Anyway, officials respond by increasing surveillance funding immediately. City councils approve unanimously. Black historian receives threats after appearing in leaked footage. He relocates temporarily, continuing work remotely. Federal agencies issue statements reaffirming established historical consensus. No evidence is addressed directly. Grants are awarded to projects, reinforcing accepted narratives. Alternative research receives no funding. Time passes under pressure. Fatigue sets in. Mistakes happen. A trusted courier is followed, leaving a meeting. A notebook disappears. Overnight raids follow within days. Damage is limited, but trust fractures. Leaders adjust again, tightening circles further. Meetings shrink 2 pairs and trios only. Knowledge fragments. Intentionally, a black educator continues teaching unofficial classes in homes. Students memorize content instead of recording it. Parents rotate locations. Weekly, attendance remains steady despite risk. Authorities begin arresting protesters under unrelated charges. Court dates stretch indefinitely. Legal costs rise. Mutual aid funds cover bail quietly. Lawyers work pro bono where possible. Media coverage reframes resistance as radical destabilization. Terms like revisionism and identity politics dominate headlines. Public sympathy divides sharply. Despite this, evidence survives, not publicly accepted, not officially endorsed, but carried, shared, remembered. Older scholars mentor younger ones discreetly. Lessons focus on endurance, not recognition. A historian burns his personal notes before retirement. Passes everything verbally instead. Museums quietly update exhibits. Decades later, without acknowledgement, language softens slightly. Footnotes appeared. No apologies follow. No credits given. Those involved know the costs already paid. The question remains unanswered publicly. Who were the black people before Columbus? The work continues without conclusion. Resistance persists without validation. History remains contested terrain. Silence holds.